The marble of the Senate is stained with blood. At the foot of the statue of Pompey, a body lies motionless, white toga now dyed red. The murmur of the crowd outside is a distant roar, like a sea about to swallow everything. Between dripping blades and panting breaths, a man tries to catch his breath. Marcus Junius Brutus, the friend who decided to plunge the last knife into Julius Caesar. Minutes before, Rome seemed under control, disciplined, silent in the face of the dictator's absolute power. Now the smell of iron, sweat and fear dominates the air. This is not just the story of a political assassination. It is the story of the man who believed that by defying Caesar, he would save the Republic. And he discovered too late the price one pays when one confronts someone who has already become greater than the city itself. Go back a few years. It's 60 BC, and Rome is experiencing its era of unbridled expansion. Legions march, golden patterns twinkle against the Mediterranean. Sun, and Caesar's name, begins to be whispered as synonymous with victory. On the streets, the shouts of the vendors mix with the noise of sandals on the stones, while news of new conquests runs like wildfire. Brutus, descendant of an ancient republican lineage, walks among marble columns, respected, brilliant, protected by Caesar. The dictator treats him like a son, calls him the noblest of the Romans. The order seems solid: roads, aqueducts, arenas. Rome swallows lands, peoples, riches.
Brutus,
but behind the appearance of
an
stability,
ancient republican
the city
lineage,
begins to revolve
walks
around a
among
single
marble
man.
columns,
And when a republic revolves
brilliant,
too much around a single
protected
name,
by Caesar.
the seed of ruin is already sown. If this scene has already made you feel the weight of history as if you were walking alongside Brutus, then don't let it go. Click on the like now and comment below which moment you think was the beginning of the fall of Rome. Your interaction helps that content reach more people and keeps that story alive within the algorithm. Show that you're part of this history-loving legion. Support it with a like and subscribe to the channel right now. This takes 2 seconds and makes all the difference. The first cracks do not appear in the walls, but in the words. In the Senate, voices are raised against Caesar's accumulation of powers. It's 49 BC when he crosses the Rubicon, breaking ancient laws by bringing his troops into Italy. The sound of the shields beating, the banner of the eagle advancing, the chill down, the spine of the senators. Everything announces that the Republic is in danger. Among them, Cassio whispers, observes, plans. Brutus, however, still hesitates, torn between affection for Caesar and loyalty to the Republican tradition. The external borders expand, but the internal ones unravel. Senators flee, generals switch sides, alliances unravel in banquets full of wine, promises and lies. Rome no longer knows whether it is a republic of free men or the stage of a single protagonist armed. With legions faithful to death, civil war devastates the Roman map. Between 49 and 45 BC, fields were transformed into cemeteries, cities into improvised fortifications. The beating of marching drums echoes throughout the peninsula as Caesar's standard advances against Pompey and his allies. In Pharsalus, the ground is covered with bodies, and the smell of smoke and burning flesh rises heavy to the sky. When Caesar wins, he doesn't just defeat a rival general, he humiliates an entire class that believed it controlled the political game. Brute watches the silent transformation. The man who should be guardian of the Republic is now called a perpetual dictator. On coins, Caesar's face begins to appear more frequently. In the squares, the statues multiply, and in the hearts of many senators, a question begins to grow. If no one puts a limit on this man, will there be anything of Rome that survives? The nights in Rome get heavier. In low-key homes, behind closed doors, senators gather in whispers as sharp as daggers. Cassio speaks of freedom, but his eyes betray ambition. Brute, on the other side of the table, stares at the flickering flame of the lamp. He knows that Caesar trusts him. He also knows that the whole city begins to bow down to a single man. The plan emerges as slow poison to eliminate Caesar to save the Republic. The columns of this conspiracy are built on hushed conversations, burned notes, tense handshakes. And here I invite you, if this were your Rome, which moment of rupture would you find most decisive? Leave your like now and comment. At what point do you think the Republic went too far in allowing Caesar to reach so high? March 44th, BC arrives. The winds that blow over the Tiber bring a strange foreboding. The city boils with rumors. Crowns offered, refused in public, perhaps accepted in secret. On the eve of the Ides of March, Brutus' house is a silent battlefield. He walks from one side to the other, toga loose, staring lost. What if we're wrong? The image of Caesar laughing at banquets, telling stories of battles, almost makes him give up. But Cassio presses, without this act, tomorrow there will be no republic. The steel of the daggers is tested, wrapped in folds of fabric. Outside, the distant sound of carts, dogs barking, guards changing shifts. Rome sleeps without imagining that he will wake up in a world where the most powerful man in the city will be surrounded by those he trusts most, and no army will be able to save him inside the Senate. The Ides of March dawn clear, Caesar, ignoring warnings of omens and restless dreams of Calpurnia, heads toward the Senate. Sandals echo through the marble, guards move away, and the buzz of senators increases. Inside, the air is dense. Conspirators position themselves as actors on an over-prepared stage. One approaches with a request, another with a note, all narrowing the circle. Suddenly, a hand pulls Caesar's toga. Another raises the dagger. The first blow cuts. Through the silence,
Caesar
then the second,
may have been
the
hated
third,
by some,
until the Senate
but
turns into a
loved
swirl
by
of
many.
blades, blood, and muffled screams. Caesar tries to react but sees Brutus's face. The phrase that crosses centuries, "Even you, Brutus," is born there, between pain and incredulity. The dictator falls at the foot of the statue of Pompey. The man was defeated. But the story is just beginning. The conspirators leave the Senate with blood-stained hands, shouting, "Freedom!" They expect applause. They expect the people to run to embrace them as saviors of the Republic. Instead, they find silence, fear, closed faces. Caesar may have been hated by some, but loved by many. Their reforms, their games, their distributions of bread and citizenship created a direct link with the plebs. In a few days, Mark Antony speaks before the crowd, shows off Caesar's torn toga, shows wound by wound. The people cry, they get angry. The streets are filled with torches. The smell of smoke rises again. Brutus, who had dreamed of being remembered as a liberator, is now seen as a traitor. The city plunges into a new cycle of civil wars. Rome does not return to the old order. She enters a maze of revenge, prescription lists, and battles that will haunt Caesar's assassins to his last breath. Between 44 and 42 BC, Brutus's fate unfolds far from Rome, on battlefields that seem to echo his inner doubts. In Philippi, Macedonia, the wind blows over two forces that face each other. On the one hand, Brutus and Cassius, late, defenders of an already dying republic. On the other, Mark Antony and Octavian, heirs to Caesar's legacy. The clash of the legions makes the ground shake. The shouts of command mingle with the rumble of the shields. When the dust settles, there is no glory for Brutus. Defeated, he chooses not to be captured. He throws himself on his own sword, preferring death to humiliation. The man who defied Caesar meets his end in a distant field, without marble, without statues, just under the silent sky. And so, a lifetime dedicated to the idea of the Republic ends in a bitter question. Was it worth it? In the end, what remains? Caesar dies, Brutus dies, but the Republic as they knew it does not survive either. Octavian took power, became Augustus in 27 BC, and the Roman Empire was born.
The legacy
the city
is
that Brutus tried to save
by
bows
eliminating
even more
Caesar,
completely
the
to a single ruler.
conspirators paved the way
The
for
legacy
something
is
even
paradoxical.
greater than himself.
By eliminating Caesar, the conspirators paved the way for something even greater than himself. Today, walking among the ruins of the Forum, we can almost hear the echo of the sandals, feel the tension of that distant march. Challenging Caesar was not just facing a man, but clashing head-on with an entire system that had already chosen its idol. If this story has hooked you this far, subscribe to the channel, leave your comment and tell me which event symbolizes the end for you. Caesar's death, Brutus's, or Augustus's coronation. Your opinion keeps this Rome alive. No one challenges Caesar without paying the price.